Today, we are going to start exploring the long-term arc of a visual practitioner. Let's start with what that term practitioner means. A practitioner is someone who is actively engaged in an art, discipline, or profession. All three of which could refer to the work that you and I are doing in this field of visual thinking. The reason that I like that term practitioner is because it implies a level of investment over the long term. That this is a practice that you want to build into either your personal or professional life, or maybe both. And it's that more long-term arc that we're going to be exploring in the next 3 videos. Not just looking at where your skills are right now and what you can do today and tomorrow, but also the way in which you are incorporating these visual thinking, visual note-taking skills into your life, how those skills can impact your life 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Because for me, that's what's most exciting about these visual thinking skills, is that I view them as a very core skill that can be applied in all sorts of situations long into the future, which is why I have no problem investing so much time in developing these skills and now teaching them as well. So let's get into stage 1 of this long-term arc of a visual practitioner, which is all about getting started. Let's get into it. This initial stage is about first building your skills, while you also develop your own visual note-taking process that's tailored to your goals and your circumstances. I like to represent this stage as a bit of a cycle between those 2 elements, because I think there is a little bit of back and forth between the 2. You build some new skills, and then you apply those skills to a particular note-taking session, and because of that experience, you realize a few more skills you need, which then allows you to tweak your process a little bit, and that cycle continues until you kind of have the right combination of skills needed to carry out the particular process that works for you. Now, that piece on building your skills can lead to some rabbit holes, because visual note-taking involves the combination of a number of different skills, and you can very easily focus on one of those skills and go way deep, because there are layers to each of those skills, and there's really the potential to keep improving those over time. So to kind of help wrap your head around what those skills are and make sure you're not going too far down any particular rabbit hole that would be unproductive at this point, here are the ways I break down those particular skills. The 4 categories of skills that I think are most important to focus on when developing your visual note-taking process. Those 4 skills are your use of text, your layout skills, the way you arrange ideas on the page, your ability to use imagery, bringing in some basic drawing skills, and your use of color to add some contrast to the page. Now, one of the things that I like about breaking visual note-taking skills down into these 4 categories is that it shows you that you can combine even just any 2 of those elements and still get a lot out of a visual note-taking process. For instance, even if you limit yourself to just using text and layout alone, there's a lot of powerful things that you can do with visual note-taking. Or say you just use text and color. Think of all of the different ways that you could distinguish between different ideas, group ideas, without really paying much attention at all to layout or imagery. So as you are building these skills, you can test out different combinations as you are developing your process, which we'll dig into now. When I refer to your visual note-taking process, what I am describing is one, the set of materials that you use, alongside the set of constraints that you set up for yourself while using those materials during a note-taking session. I am a huge proponent of deciding up front how you will use text in your next note-taking session, what your layout will look like, how you will build an imagery, and what the role of color will be. And that's what I mean when I talk about constraints. Making some decisions up front so that you know how you will combine those various skills together when you're in the moment taking those notes. And it's specifically because of that integration of the skills and the process that I like representing this getting started stage as a cycle between those two elements. Building your individual skills in those particular areas while you're also taking time to combine those skills as you figure out a process that works for your specific application. Now, I think that the end of this stage is when you have gone through this cycle enough times to the point where you have a well-defined process for the initial application that you decided to learn visual note-taking for. My guess is that you're here initially, at least, for a particular reason. Maybe it's because you're a student and you want to take better notes so that you can do well on your exams, or you want to take better notes during meetings at work, or you want to build more visuals into the way you present ideas to others. I would say the end of stage one of this long-term arc is once you have built up the necessary skills and refined your process to have enough confidence to go into whatever that particular application is and apply your skills in a meaningful and beneficial way, in a way that actually has a positive impact on that particular situation and environment in which you are using those skills. And if you are able to get to that point, if you are able to work through the challenges and the emotional struggles of building these new skills that you probably won't be comfortable with at the beginning, if you're able to get to that point where you have this process that you're able to use in a meaningful way in your work, I'm guessing you won't want to stop there. If you're anything like me, once you get to that point, your interest in this field of visual thinking will have been piqued, and you might be ready to explore what else you might be able to do with it. That is what we will talk about in stage 2 of this long-term arc of a visual practitioner. That's what we'll be talking about tomorrow. So I hope you come back and watch that video. In the meantime, if you're not yet at the end of stage 1 here, then I would say just pick one of these things to work on. Maybe try to identify one of these particular skills that you could build a little bit on, and then figure out how you might incorporate that new skill into your note-taking process. Good luck with that. Have fun. I hope it goes well. I will see you tomorrow.